Welcome back to another episode of your daily MotoGP news. Today we're covering Marc Márquez's mindset as he battles through a challenging start to the season, plus our first look at what Ducati has in store for 2027. Marc Márquez is refusing to give up despite a difficult beginning to 2026. The Spanish rider suffered a complex injury during the Indonesia Grand Prix in 2025, and while it didn't directly affect his right arm, he has been experiencing poor sensations with the Ducati in these early races, attributing the issues to a combination of factors including his physical condition. After 3 Grands Prix, despite Aprilia's impressive dominance, Márquez hasn't ruled himself out of the championship fight. In a recent promotional spot, he laid out his philosophy clearly: "They call me a nonconformist." Maybe that's true, but what I know is that whether I win or lose, I always want to do better. Because for me, winning was never a goal, just a starting point. He's targeting the next round at Jerez, a circuit that has historically favored him, where he hopes to regain confidence with the Ducati, especially in those crucial opening laps that have defined his early season struggles. Now a 9-time world champion, Márquez has always valued his team above everything else. "What I'm most grateful for is having a team that believes in you so much, no matter what titles you have," he said. His journey in racing began at just 4 years old on a motorcycle, competing in official competitions by 5. His first MotoGP title, won as a rookie, remains monumentally significant, though his perspective shifted after 4 years of hardship that began at Jerez in 2020. "Honestly, my greatest achievement has been maintaining motivation for so many years and leaving space to recharge," he reflected. 2020 was a physical and mental blow that taught me the body isn't invincible, and that you also have to learn to stop and take care of yourself. On the machinery front, Ducati is already preparing for the future, with test rider Michele Pirro taking the new 2027 Desmo Sedici out for the first time, according to GP1. Moving on to the early 2026 season, there are some compelling developments that really showcase where MotoGP stands right now. Let's start with one of the most controversial finishes we've seen in recent memory. The opening sprint race of 2026 was shaping up to be spectacular. Marco Bezzecchi, the favorite for victory, crashed out in the opening laps under pressure from Márquez, which set up exactly the battle fans had been waiting years to see. Márquez and Pedro Acosta were trading positions with genuinely exciting overtakes, keeping everyone on the edge of their seats. But in the penultimate lap, everything changed. After losing the lead at turn 5, Márquez made a move on Acosta into the final corner, got the position, but Acosta ran off track as a result. Race direction penalized Márquez almost immediately, forcing him to give back the position. The alternative was a 3-second penalty, leaving Márquez with no choice. Acosta crossed the line first, but it felt like a hollow win. Márquez was already ahead at the apex and never left the track himself. It was hard racing, but a racing incident, and race direction's decision to intervene felt like overstepping. Similar incidents in the past have gone unpunished, and it set a troubling precedent right at the start of the season, leaving Acosta's long-awaited first victory feeling more like a gift from the stewards than a genuine triumph. By the time MotoGP reaches Jerez, Acosta sits third in the championship standings, trailing Marco Bezzecchi and Jorge Martin, both on Aprilia machinery. He scored an impressive win in the Thailand sprint, a second-place finish in the opening round, and a third in Austin. But the bigger story emerging from the early season is Aprilia's dominance. According to Acosta himself, Aprilia has discovered something special that allows their bikes to turn better, making them extremely consistent, particularly through high-speed corner sequences like those Austin presented. They are the bikes to beat, though Ducati remains a genuine contender. Finally, we close with 2 stories that remind us why this sport captivates the world. At 94 years old, 6-time world champion Jim Redman sat down to answer the question that has defined his entire life: who is the greatest motorcycle racer he has ever seen? His answer takes us on a journey through 60 years of racing evolution. Redman begins by explaining that in his era, greatness wasn't about being the fastest. It was about understanding the limit and knowing how far you could push without dying. There were no airbags, no electronics to save you. He narrows it down to 5 names. Mike Hailwood, who synchronized with his motorcycle rather than fighting it. Giacomo Agostini, who strangled races with relentless consistency; Kenny Roberts, the American who revolutionized how bikes were ridden by living on the limit; Valentino Rossi, who brought intelligence and psychology to racing, studying opponents and breaking them at the perfect moment; and finally, Marc Márquez. Redman admits he thought Márquez was reckless at first, crashing constantly, but then he understood. Márquez doesn't stay within the limit, he transcends it. His crashes are the price he pays for living beyond what everyone else thought possible. At 94, Redman's conclusion is clear. The greatest rider he has ever seen is the young man from Sevilla who made the impossible a routine. And speaking of building for the future, Yamaha is undergoing significant reorganization to close the gap with its competitors. Technical Director Max Bartolini has revealed that coordination between their European base in Jerez de la Frontera and Japan remains an area requiring improvement. Yamaha is investing heavily in a new V4 engine designed for the 2027 regulation change to 850 cubic centimeter bikes. However, current results highlight the scale of the challenge ahead. Fabio Quartararo has scored only 6 points in the early races, leaving Yamaha at the bottom of the Constructors' Championship. Bartolini also notes that with Pirelli arriving as the sole tire supplier, extensive testing with Michelin no longer makes sense. That's all for today. We'll see you in the next one.